Skeletons of the Marital Closet by Tang. Chapter 1601. Shawn murmured her name twice before saying, "I realize now that love isn't about possession. It's..." He gulped before continuing. "It's not about how much effort I put in, but about knowing that you're always there. It's knowing that no matter when, you'll always choose to come back home. We'll sleep in the same bed forever and ever." That was true love. Love was not about control, tying one's hands and feet and watching their every move. Love was about mutual dependence with mutual freedom. It was about having each other in your hearts no matter where you are. Shawn had misunderstood what love was. Now, he finally saw the light. Gale leaned back, rested against him, and gently said, "Yes, no matter how many people appear by my side, the only person I love is you. Likewise, you have all those admirers around you, but I am the only one you love." Love does not need constant control. To know that someone would always choose you is true love. "Shawn, I'm a bit shy and don't express my feelings well. Sometimes I might be too reserved, so you may not notice it," she said. "It's okay, I'll try to change. I'll try to be more expressive so that you can feel more at ease. But even if I don't express it, you should know that I love you." Gale's voice became softer and softer. She whispered in his ear, "It's my first time being a wife, so please forgive me, Mr. Wood." Shawn clasped her waist, burning with passion. He lowered his head to find her lips, wanting to kiss her deeply. He needed to confirm that it was real, not his imagination or a dream. He also needed to confirm that the woman in his arms was his beloved Gale. However, Gale tilted her head to avoid it. "Not now. I don't want to be teased by Joshua again," Shawn said. "Just a quick kiss, Gale." Gale gave a quick peck on his lips. Was that enough? It made Shawn's heart yearn for her even more. He wished he could press her down on the sofa right away. However, Joshua was there, ever so annoying. If Joshua knew what Shawn was thinking at that moment, he would probably make a fuss. Gale knew what Shawn was thinking and shook her head. She gave him a warning gaze, as if to say, "Don't mess around." Naturally, Joshua had already teased her, and she wanted to preserve her dignity. The two silently locked eyes, both yearning for a kiss. "How about I close my eyes or you guys go out for a kiss?" Joshua suggested. Although he was wearing headphones and could not hear what his parents were saying, he was not blind. Gale sighed and rolled her eyes. Chapter 1602. Due to the severity of Joshua's injuries, he would have to stay in the hospital for at least another half-month. Gale had to take care of her son, and Shawn would spend most of his time in the ward with her. Naturally, they would show public affection. The couple had to constantly consider Joshua, who quite frankly made it inconvenient for them to have some private time. Besides, Joshua had a sharp mouth. Gale pushed Shawn away, saying, "Enough. Be mindful of the kid." "I think he's recovering fine. No need to worry. Tonight, you go home and get a good night's sleep." Shawn's eyes had a glint, and he almost looked predatory. She was stunned. Would she really get a good night's sleep after going home? She probably would be better off staying in the hospital. Gale was about to reply when someone urgently knocked on the door. "Mr. and Mrs. Wood." "Yes." The bodyguard outside shouted. "Pearton is awake." "Finally. I'll go check on him." Gale immediately rushed out. It was the good news they had all been waiting for. Gale hurried to Pearton's ward. Shawn was about to follow her when Joshua shouted, Wait, I'm coming too. Take me with you." He questioned, You're going too? Of course. Uncle Pearson is my lifesaver. It's only right for me to go. Shawn turned back, looking at Joshua. With his hand in a cast and his neck wrapped in bandages, he looked like a mummy. In the past few days, he had recovered a fair bit and could move his neck more freely than when he first woke up. However, he still could not get out of bed. I can take you, but, Shawn said. Joshua looked at him warily. What do you want? Call me Daddy. No way. How could Shawn threaten him with that? Fine. Whether you want to call me your daddy or not is your prerogative. Whether I bring you along is mine, so I've decided that you can't continue lying here alone. He turned to leave. Hey, Shawn! Wait, don't go! Joshua shouted loudly. Call me Daddy. I won't. Shawn continued walking out. Shawn, you heartless guy. Just because I interrupted your lovey-dovey time with Big Beauty, you treat me like this? Bodyguard, doctor, nurse, help me, someone! Joshua's shouts were useless. Shawn stood at the door. Even if your voice goes hoarse, no one will come to carry you. As long as Shawn was there, nobody would dare defy his orders. I'll complain to Big Beauty that you won't take me to see Uncle Pearson. She can't even protect herself. She can't help you. Shawn, you evil capitalist. You're the son of a capitalist. Joshua was deflated. Chapter 1603. Yes, he cursed Shawn. But since Shawn was his father, he basically cursed himself. After all, they are related. Do you really want me to call you that? Are you trying to satisfy your vanity and sense of security, or do you truly acknowledge me as your son? Joshua asked. What do you mean if I truly acknowledge you as my son? Joshua, you are my son. My blood flows in you and you share my genes. Your personality is even similar to mine. I feel that calling you Shawn is more comfortable to me. Shawn did not speak. He just raised his hand and turned the doorknob, ready to leave. Joshua quickly spoke up. Okay, fine. Daddy, please take me to see Uncle Pearson. He thought a real man would need to be flexible and strategic. Right now, he would give in to achieve his goal. Next time, Shawn would not be able to hear him call him Daddy so easily. Shawn turned around and returned to his bedside with a faint, triumphant smile on his lips. He was the boss. Joshua was just a kid. How could the kid think of defeating him in the game he played best? Previously, Shawn temporarily let Joshua have the final say a few times. It was a joke if Joshua really thought he could defeat Shawn. Shawn had plenty of tricks up his sleeve. Joshua had finally acknowledged him as his daddy. Shawn, I will get my revenge. Joshua gritted his teeth. He would remember today's humiliation. It was not a sincere acknowledgement. Shawn's outstretched hands retracted. What did you call me? Joshua immediately whimpered, Daddy. Shawn was satisfied and lifted Joshua up like a little chick from the nest. After all, he was as strong as he could easily lift Gale with one hand. In the intensive care unit, Pearson lay there, covered in tubes. Oh, thank God he is now awake. The attending physician sighed in relief. The critical period is now over. It's truly fortunate, a rare miracle. Natalie died instantly after falling from such a height. Miraculously, Pearson lived. After many hours of operations, blood transfusions, and doctors taking turns monitoring him for 24 hours in the intensive care unit, they finally managed to save his life. Pearson! Pearson! Outside the door, Gale's voice rang out. She rushed in, with joy evident in her voice, and headed straight for the bed. Pearson's eyes moved. slowly opening. "Mrs. Wood." His voice was very soft. He was too frail to speak. "You finally woke up." Gale saw him, her eyes instantly turning red. "I was so worried about you, afraid that you would—" Puritan tried to smile, but he could not manage it. "It's okay. I'm fine. As long as Joshua is safe, then... Don't worry. Joshua is fine. He woke up before you did. He's even recovering well." Only then did Puritan look relieved. "Thank you, Puritan. If it weren't for you, Joshua, you're a hero, our family's savior." "Ma'am, it's nothing." Gale turned to the doctor, asking, "How is he now? Is he gradually improving?" Chapter 1604. "Yes, as long as we continue to monitor him, he will recover." "That's great. I've been worried that he might." After all, Natalie died. Gale was afraid that they would not be able to save Puritan. "It's indeed a miracle. I think it's due to his own physique. He's a bodyguard, and his body is strong as he exercises regularly. Plus, when he fell rapidly, he instinctively wrapped his hand around his head. The training kicked in to protect him," the doctor said. Gale nodded repeatedly. As long as he was alive, that was good. Puritan silently watched her. He unfortunately was unable to move, and speaking was difficult. Otherwise, he wanted to tell Gale that he willingly sacrificed himself and she did not owe him anything. Saving Joshua was his duty, and he was satisfied to fulfill it. "Take care of yourself. Don't need to worry about anything else. I'll wait for your full recovery." Gale held his hand. "I'm afraid I will be too weak after this. I can't serve you and Mr. Wood again." Puritan's body would definitely not be the same as it used to be. After his injuries healed, it would be God's grace even to walk and hold things like a normal person. Being a bodyguard again surely was out of the question. He felt regretful. "Uncle Puritan! Uncle Puritan!" At this moment, Joshua's voice rang out. Joshua was nowhere to be seen yet his shouts could be heard. "Joshua is here." Gale blinked quickly, collecting herself. "Puritan, the person you saved is here to see you." At the door, Shawn appeared, holding Joshua. Puritan looked at Joshua, trying to smile. Joshua. He remembered when he jumped through the window. He saw Joshua, a little boy who was half-conscious and covered in blood. He was in poor spirits, head drooping and pale. It was a sharp contrast with Joshua's lively and cheerful demeanor now. He was so full of life that it made Puritan feel his sacrifice was worth it. "Uncle Puritan, I'm here, my hero!" Joshua's eyes sparkled as he looked at him. "I still remember the scene of you descending from the sky. Whoosh! You're so cool. You kicked Natalie off the window in just one kick. Wow, that was decisive. You're just like a super agent in a movie." While Joshua spoke, he kept kicking his legs. Unfortunately, he could not move his hands. Otherwise, he would have demonstrated Puritan's heroic posture on the spot. Although I was a bit confused at the time because I was about to faint, I saw it. I remember it. Uncle Puritan, thank you for saving me. To repay you, I'll devote my life to you," Joshua said very seriously. As soon as he said that, everyone in the ward burst into laughter. Even Shawn smiled. Gale wiped away her tears while laughing. All the back and forth from crying and laughing made her feel she had split personalities. Chapter 1605. "What are you all laughing at? Did I say something wrong?" Joshua looked utterly confused. The doctor shook his head. "Nothing. I'll head back to the office to finalize Puritan's treatment plan. Mr. Wood, Mrs. Wood, we'll take our leave." The doctor led the nurses out, leaving Joshua still puzzled. "Why are you laughing then? Did I say something wrong? Mommy, why are you laughing?" "Shawn, aren't you the perpetually poker-faced guy? Even you laughed," he kept asking. Shawn raised an eyebrow. "You said you'd devote yourself to Pearton." "Yeah, don't they always say that on TV to repay someone for saving your life? Why can't I say that too?" Joshua replied nonchalantly. "You can. It's up to Pearton if he wants that." Shawn nodded. Gale tugged at Shawn's sleeve. "Joshua's just a kid. Why are you messing with him?" Shawn replied seriously. "I'm quite open-minded. I'll agree if he insists on devoting himself to another man." Joshua sensed something was off. He muttered, "So it's okay for a girl to devote herself to a guy, but not for a guy to devote himself to another guy? Do you even know what the phrase means?" Shawn asked. After a moment, Joshua answered, "It's giving your body to someone else. Uncle Pearton saved my life, so my life belongs to him. Well, I also wanted to learn martial arts with him to protect Mommy and Nicole." Children always looked at things so plainly. "Did I get it right? What does it really mean?" Joshua asked again. "It means you want to marry someone. Are you sure you want to marry Uncle Pearton?" Shawn leisurely explained. Joshua was dumbfounded. He definitely did not want that. How could a man marry another man? "Oops, I misspoke. Let me rephrase that." Joshua struggled with his limited vocabulary. Whatever. Uncle Pearton understands my intent." Pearton chuckled as he looked at Joshua. "Joshua is truly adorable." "Oh no, you can't call a man adorable. You should say I am handsome, brave, or any of the sort. Get well soon. I'm looking forward to learning how to fight from you." To Joshua, Pearton was the most formidable person. He also wanted to have Pearton's extraordinary skills so he could punish evildoers when necessary. "I'm afraid I can't be your coach. My body won't be what it was. I'd be lucky if I could walk," Pearton said. He suffered multiple comminuted fractures and severe concussion. He needed at least 3 months of rest in the hospital. "As long as you agree to teach me, I can wait. I'll start learning when you recovered. No rush," Joshua insisted. Shawn intervened before Pearton could say more. "He wants to be your disciple. Accept him." "Mr. Wood, I dare not be Joshua's teacher." "He wants to be your disciple, so you can. But for now, focus on recovering. You've made a great contribution to my family this time." Pearton replied, "It's my duty. Out of so many bodyguards, only you stepped forward." "Mr. Wood, you won't blame me for acting without permission?" "No, even if you hadn't saved Joshua then, I wouldn't have blamed you. I've always been reasonable and fair," Shawn replied. Chapter 1606. No amount of pre-planning could help the situation then. Fortunately, Pearton succeeded in his crazy idea. Yeah, whether he successfully rescued me or not, Uncle Pearton is undoubtedly a great hero. Joshua nodded repeatedly. Pearton just nodded. Gale bent down, leaning against Pearton. "Take good care of yourself. We won't disturb you. If you need anything, just ask. I will do whatever I can to do it." "Thank you, Mrs. Wood." Pearton was extremely weak. In the short time he had been awake, he had expended most of his energy to converse with them. Gale, not wanting to disturb him, left with Joshua. Pearton slowly closed his eyes with a faint smile. He had done something profoundly meaningful in his life that he would never regret. Back in his ward, Joshua immediately started to settle scores. When Gale tried to put him back on the bed, he clung to her arm. "Mommy, Daddy bullied me. Whose side are you on?" "When did he bully you?" "Just now, when you ran out to see Uncle Pearton." Joshua recounted the incident where Shawn forced him to call him Daddy. Gale chuckled. "Just say it once then. He's your dad anyway." "But I don't want to." "All right then, don't say it again." Joshua was dissatisfied. "You're not helping me. You're no use since you got married." As soon as he finished speaking, he received a knock on his forehead. "Ow! Ow! Ow! My daddy doesn't care. My mommy doesn't love me. I want my grandparents. You two gang up to bully me," Joshua cried. "Stop being dramatic. No one's here to watch your antics," Gale said, turning to Shawn. "You, come over and apologize." Shawn was somewhat surprised. "What?" "If you want to hear Joshua call you Daddy, then you have to behave properly rather than coerce him. Doing that will only get you so far." After that, Gale looked at Joshua. "Treat your father better. If you're not willing to call him your daddy, you need to tell him where he falls short. Give him the chance to improve and let him strive to become the dad you envision." "How can you always be competing?" Gale scolded them. "I'm going to call Mom and check on her. Resolve your issues yourselves." Once she stepped out, Gale could not hold back her laughter. She thought she would let them figure it out on their own. She had no control over it anyway. Both Shawn and Joshua were the kind who would never like to lose. Gale took out her phone, ready to dial. But Mary called first. It felt as if they had telepathic communication. "Hello, Mom. Is everything sorted?" Gale asked. "It's done. I'm on my way back to the hospital now." "No trouble, right?" "Why would I be in trouble? I feel relieved. Besides, Heather was present just now." Chapter 1607. "She was there? Why?" Gale exclaimed. "Matthew couldn't really stand on his own, so she was there to support him. I threw the divorce papers in her face and told her that from now on, I will never see her and Matthew again," Mary explained. "I also told Heather that despite all her scheming, seducing Matthew, and taking my daughter away, she gained nothing. I won't bother with her because she wasted half her life. If she wants Matthew, she can have him. I told her there was nothing left to fight for. She took you away, which is indeed a crime deserving of death. Even if I had the intention to kill her now, it wouldn't change the fact that you left me at a young age. I want to forget it all. Now you and Shawn have a loving relationship. Joshua and Nicole are growing up well. I don't want bloodshed. I don't want to be the villain punishing Heather. Let's move forward with grace." Gale nodded. "Mom, you're so open-minded. I feel relieved." She was worried that her unilateral decision to facilitate Matthew and Mary's divorce might make her mom uncomfortable. Actually, it was not a sign they wanted to forgive Heather. It just meant they wanted to let it go. Heather schemed so much, but in the end, she lost her biological daughter and gained nothing. Rather than confronting Heather about the past, why not leave Matthew with some grace and let Heather accompany him for the rest of his life? That way, whenever Matthew thought of Mary and Gale, he would feel guilty. "Rest assured, Gale, I am not a narrow-minded person. By the way, when signing the papers, I noticed Matthew's hands were shaking. By the time the divorce papers were issued, he had taken quite a few medications. His health seems to be in bad shape," Mary said. Tomorrow, he's getting a stent in his heart. After the surgery, I'll transfer him to a hospital outside of Sea City. From then on, you won't see them again." "All right," Mary replied. She did not care about the surgery, and she did not bother asking Matthew's condition. She appeared truly open-minded and calm about the whole situation. It seemed like she had truly let go. After hanging up, Gale looked out the window. She felt a sense of calm and tranquility. Everything was over. Then again, everything was just beginning. The past was gone, and the future was unfolding. She believed that it would only get better. She returned to the ward and saw Shawn sitting on the sofa while Joshua was lying on the bed. "How did it go? Did you two reconcile?" Gale asked. "Yeah," Shawn nodded. "Yup," Joshua echoed. "Why do you both look so unwilling? Should I give you another chance to talk?" Gale said. She pretended to walk away. No, Joshua immediately stopped her. "Shawn and I get along really well now. No more scheming and jealousy. If you don't believe it, ask him yourself." Shawn nodded. Gale's eyes shifted between the two. Something was off, but she could not put her finger on it. What did they talk about? "Joshua, are you not willing to call Shawn Daddy?" Gale asked. "It's not the right time yet. He promised me he would behave and earn my approval." Shawn nodded again. "All right. In the future, try to get along. Don't ask me to mediate all your disputes. Can you guys do that?" Gale looked satisfied. Chapter 1608. "Sure," Joshua responded enthusiastically. Shawn also agreed. Gale smiled. That's more like it. Regardless of what they discussed, they would gradually adapt and grew closer. After all, they were father and son. Joshua smirked. Shawn sighed. Even their expressions when they scowled were identical. Gale saw their expressions and found it amusing. A month had passed. Joshua was getting discharged. After spending a whole month in the hospital, Joshua was itching to get out. "I felt I could have left much earlier. Your paranoia and all those checks that delayed me for a week. The doctor finally allowed my discharge. Yes, I am finally free," Joshua said. He grabbed his hospital gown and waved it above his head. He was in high spirits. The stitches on Joshua's neck were removed, and he would only need to medicate them to prevent scarring. "Freedom! Freedom! Woo! I can run and jump again, free to soar!" Joshua bounced on the hospital bed, wiggling his hips. Shawn and Gale stood by the bed, arms crossed, and watched him expressionlessly. "What? Aren't you guys happy? No celebration? Today is such a wonderful day," Joshua asked excitedly. Gale nodded. Yes, we're happy. Just take it easy. Don't break the bed," Shawn added. "Watch your hand. You just recovered from a fracture. Don't break it again." "How is that possible? I'm not that fragile," Joshua retorted. The month in the hospital was not only tough on Joshua, but also exhausting for Gale. She was shuttling between the hospital and home while also caring for Nicole. Shawn was juggling between the company, home, and the hospital. They were finally free. "Let's celebrate! Party time!" Joshua jumped off the bed and ran to the two. "Why don't you look happy at all? What's wrong? Did I bore you?" "Indeed, time apart would be good. We spent too much time with each other. It's okay. You can enjoy your alone time now. I won't be the third wheel any longer." Shawn and Gale stared at him, and then they turned around to pack their things. The couple knew Joshua's need for attention and love of dramatics. They decided to leave him be. Joshua scoffed. I'm going to live with Grandpa and Grandma, or maybe I'll stay with Great-Grandpa. You're tired of seeing me. I'm no longer your little baby. It's okay. There are people who haven't grown tired of me." Just as he said that, a hearty laugh echoed from the doorway. "Who could ever get tired of my adorable grandson? A day without seeing you, and we miss you terribly." Peter walked in, carrying a limited edition racing car. Mary followed behind. "Joshua is finally discharged. I finally feel at ease. Look, you even put on some weight, and your complexion has improved a lot. Luckily, I made all that soup for you this month," Mary said. She also brought a gift, a gold necklace for him. Joshua received the gift joyfully. "Thank you, Grandpa. Thank you, Grandma." He would never dared to buy such an expensive race car and had silently admired it from afar. Grandpa actually gave it to him as a gift. Chapter 1609. Joshua picked up the gold necklace, bit on it, and grinned. That was not all. When Lucas arrived, he handed Joshua a key. "Great-Grandpa, what is—" "A house key." "What? A house?" More precisely, it was the key to a villa. Lucas explained. "In the future, when you grow up and have a family, you can move here. Joshua, you can't keep living with your parents, can you?" Joshua joyfully accepted. "Thank you, Great-Grandpa." Lucas was always generous. After buying a theme park for Nicole, he purchased a villa for Joshua. Their gifts were progressively more luxurious. "Do you ever feel that his gifts are getting more extravagant?" Gale nudged Shawn's shoulder. "Was that appropriate? Would it cultivate Joshua's lavish spending habits?" Take the racing car model from Peter as an example. It looked ordinary, but as a limited edition, it cost tens of thousands, not to mention the gold necklace and a villa. Shawn replied, "It's fine." Gale realized she should not have asked him because Shawn had given gifts that were even more extravagant, like company shares. It isn't right to spoil them this young. Now it's gifts worth thousands and millions. What about the future? Gale muttered quietly. Let Joshua and Nicole know from an early age that they are wealthy, so they won't be easily swayed or deceived by strangers, Shawn said. It made sense. They needed to guard against plain flattery and gold diggers. Shawn circled his arm around her waist, pulling her close. They were born into a different world, so what they receive will naturally be different. My children deserve it. Gale nodded. Perhaps her perspective did not apply to elite families. After all, the Wood family was rich and powerful, providing the best for their children within their means. The only problem was that the Wood family's means exceeded that of ordinary people by a great deal more. With 3 elders present, encircling Joshua and offering hugs and kisses, there was no room for Shawn and Gale. Shawn, I think we're not needed here, Gale said. It was fine. Her 2 children, who once only enjoyed her love, now had so many people loving them. She heard footsteps at the entrance of the ward. Gale turned to find Arum standing there. Their eyes met. Chapter 1610. Gale spoke first. Arum. Shawn furrowed his brows, scrutinizing. Why was he here? Arum looked calm. His eyes glanced past Shawn and Gale and made a beeline for Joshua. He held a bouquet, knocked on the door, and offered it to Joshua. Joshua. Uncle Arum, you came. Hearing Arum's voice, Joshua's eyes lit up. How could I be absent on your big day? I thought. Joshua glanced at Shawn. Considering how petty and jealous his father was, he probably would not have informed Aram. In fact, Shawn indeed did not tell Aram that Joshua was getting discharged that day. Aram came on his own. However, with everyone here, could Shawn really send him away? Aram smiled. I haven't bought anything special, Joshua. Just a bouquet of flowers. Flowers are great, so beautiful and fresh. I love flowers. Joshua ran over, taking the flowers in his hands. Uncle Aram, I like everything you give me. Aram patted his head. In the future, stay close to your mom and dad. Be obedient and don't be naughty. I wish you'd grow up safe and healthy. Sure thing. I can come to your house often in the future, unless... Joshua's eyes shifted. You don't welcome me anymore. How could that be? My home is always open for you. Great. Next time, I'll bring Nicole along. Aram agreed. Sure thing. The atmosphere became somewhat awkward. Aram's sudden appearance was indeed unexpected due to his special status. For Shawn, he was a rival. For Peter, he was a highly admired person he once considered a good partner for Gale. For Mary, he was the prospective son-in-law. Everyone did not know what to say. However, Aram remained calm. Flowers delivered, blessings sent. Sorry for the interruption. I'll take my leave, Aram said. Take care. Although he knew that Gale did not love Aram romantically and only treated him as a friend, he still remained wary. Aram was his biggest rival. Aram nodded, turned around, and left. It seemed his visit was indeed just to bring Joshua a bouquet of flowers with no other motives. Well, let me walk you out. Gale felt a bit uneasy. She quickly exited the hospital room. The relationship between her and Aram was becoming more and more precarious. However, Gale still hoped to maintain a friendly relationship with Aram. Even if there was no romance, there could be a bond surpassing friendship connecting the two. Gale walked silently beside Aram, heading toward the elevator.